That would be helpful. I think you already would require transfer.
Ready when you are.
Yeah.
But some of the.
Yeah.
You want a paper copy to start? You good?
Remember, somebody sent them to me.
Cody,
What?
do you want a paper copy to start?
No, I got it. Yeah, just
They showed, yeah, the new bridge, I'm going to start. So the covered bridge, so, you know, look on, sort of see what it used to be.
yeah. I've never been to
No,
no.
I didn't.
Well, I've been there a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I can email it to you.
Just-
I felt that way about it. In Montana.
They're 2-3 miles from each other. It's not hard to be nice.
Makes it easy. Well said.
They do seem to be nice. And grandpa's kind of been on last fall. All right, sorry about that all. 6:33, we can call this meeting, regular select board meeting to order. First item is to review the agenda for any additions or deletions. Do we have any additions or deletions? Oh, good. Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. So this is public comment. It's not for anyone who has anything they'd like to address to the select board that's not already on the agenda for this evening. Do we have any public comments this evening? Well, we went from having no AC to a really loud AC, huh? Or is that fan?
That's just the fan.
Oh, okay.
We don't bring up that word AC here.
If we don't have that, we don't have anything to blow it around. So,
Good.
yeah.
Well, I'd ask if anybody's out there that could hear us, but
Bigger than anyone online.
okay. So anyways, hearing no public comment this evening, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The minutes from the June 3rd meeting. The warrants. What, one liquor, maybe one cannabis,
Yeah. Like,
and I didn't see any access papers.
there wasn't any.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
There's a second.
Seconded.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. Moving on. Finance Committee appointment. Mr. Schilling.
Hello.
Hi, would you like to join us at the table?
Yes.
So the Finance Committee met last night, was it, I believe?
Yeah.
And Mark expressed interest in joining the Finance Committee. We had a vacancy and, you know this deal better than I do. So tell us about yourself and why you're interested.
Well, I think everybody here knows who I am. Former treasurer in town here, and I feel that my background and my involvement in other financial aspects of groups here in town makes me a good candidate for the position. Was approached about it previously, and it was too soon after I retired, but I'm feel that I would be good on the finance committee and able to make the meetings, and I'd entertain any questions that anybody has.
Thank you, Mark. Does anybody have any questions?
I didn't know you already.
Kind of.
I guess my only question is a fairly basic one, but do you have any particular goals or, you know, obviously you've been through a few finance committee, presentations and meetings and stuff before. Is there any particular thing you think you'd like to add or, you know, because CJ had been on for a very long time when he stepped down, so.
When I was clerk treasurer, there was some discussion of having the finance committee involved in more other financial aspects of the town government. And that never really developed, and so I'm curious to find out why that didn't happen and what it is. That's a curiosity on my part. But, if it continues on as a status quo thing where they basically, review all the appropriation and act accordingly, then I'm fine with that. Certainly not looking to chair or run the organization. I think the committee.
Yeah.
But, just curious to know how else, if there's any other way to do things.
Anything else from? Okay. Celia, you're just in time. Go on a grill, Mark.
Oh, obviously,
This is my favorite thing to do.
obviously, I'm a library trustee, and I'm also, the bookkeeper, not treasurer, for the Cambridge area Rotary. So when it comes time, I have input on those things, for the finance committee, but obviously accuse myself from any decision on those items.
I'm sorry to put you on the hot seat, but if you have anything you wanted to ask Mark about the finance committee, the appointment.
I don't think I need to ask for the background.
Is it
Why
a,
do you want to join? Why do you want to add another thing to your plate?
Basically, I feel that my background would help, be beneficial to the committee and the town. And I just can't stay away. I very much enjoyed my tenure as clerk treasurer, and very much enjoyed being retired from it. I think Donna's doing a terrific job, and her staff as well. But it's going to, being involved with different groups on the edge of finances. I just think that could be a benefit to the rest of the group.
Let's see without having you. Thank you.
Sure.
Stepping out.
is it a term or is it indefinite? What's
Finance is a 3-year term.
3 years? You know, if I'm replaced, was it he at the end of his term?
Yes, he was actually,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, so I pulled my book out, so yeah. Yeah. Hearing no
So
other,
in other words, it's a full 3-year term. You're not getting it for a year and then decide whether you still want to do it or not.
No, I'm committed to it.
hearing no other discussion, there'd be a motion in order to appoint Mark Schilling to a 3-year term to the finance committee. For a second,
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries. Welcome aboard, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
I do like to sit in, with select board meetings from time to time. Not involved in much of this, but I think tonight I'm gonna say good evening and let you
Take
go
off.
on your way. Thank you.
You're gonna go wander to the cemetery? Is that what you're gonna do?
What's that?
You're gonna go wander to the cemetery? Is that what you're gonna
I'm gonna go home and deal with the new family of skunks that we have. Who went from 1 to 5. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, moving on. Melissa. Hazard mitigation plan.
So since last we met, we have a complete draft of the local hazard mitigation plan. I sent it out a few weeks ago and received some comments. So what was in your packet was a clean copy of the draft and just the comments I've received.
Are the comments what's in yellow highlighted?
So the comments are in red. And then I had some questions which I highlighted in yellow. Um. And I don't know if folks have had a moment to review the draft. Shall we go just page by page?
Yeah, I think so. There's some, but it's not fun. I think we did slot some time to do this, so.
So, I guess if anyone had any comments on page 3? Okay,
I just had, so I was reviewing a couple other local hazard mitigation plans from like Fairfax, a couple neighboring towns, and one thing that they added was a community background that was a little more extensive than our introduction. That had more of like,
not hazard mitigation.
just the community in general of. Um,
Community consisting of, you mean, is that?
yeah, it had like a background of the history of, basically, I can pull a couple of, maybe I could send you a couple examples. I was gonna drop just one paragraph if so I can take that off your plate and then maybe propose it for the next.
Yeah, if you wanna send me some language, or you said, Fairfax.
Yeah. I'm sharing this. Hopefully I bookmarked it, but I'll find what I had. But it had like a little personalized section of all of the more information of how the town became Jefferson on Cambridge. And we do a little bit of that, but not a. I think we talked about the difference between the two, but not the history.
Yeah, it's more the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You can add something in there about that,
I guess I have to ask, we're gonna have time to do that.
When is it due?
well, the thing,
Tonight, are we supposed to?
it would be good to get it in probably by the end of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
we do that. I don't think it's a requirement. I just was reading it and I thought it was a nice addition.
Yeah, I think the hazard mitigation, the FEMA requirements are that you discuss the jurisdiction, but I mean, you can certainly add more to it. Yeah.
When did you hear about from Selectboard? We're gonna do this again for 5 years.
Well, we don't have to. You're right, I'll have to stay on.
She proposed this glossary of terms, which I think was a huge
Yeah.
asset to this, so. I think it was huge.
Yeah, I don't want to add busy work, but I just want to speak it a little, so that's all.
Yeah. And that might be something that we can pull from the town planning.
I'm pretty sure we have this written on the website, honestly, like us. Probably.
And I just wanted to confirm that the town manages FEMA public systems and hazard mitigation for both villages and the town,
Just the town.
just the town. Okay.
As a whole, though, right?
If the village applies for FEMA assistance, town does not manage that. The village manages that separately.
They do here, but Cambridge doesn't, do they?
Cambridge, correct. We do that for Cambridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all part of it, so it's just Czech Village.
Yeah, village.
But for hazard mitigation grant funding. it's-
I don't,
Oh, sorry. Here you go. Sorry. Okay.
You can also, you guys can sit at the table too. You don't have to sit back there
I
if
can
you
move
want.
over. Okay. I wasn't sure for hazard mitigation grants that typically works.
we've never jointly applied, I don't believe. So I don't know if we know the answer to that at this point. I think we would assist, but I would imagine we would assist.
I assume the town did for that. It's culvert over there, the bypass. I assume we did it as a town. That was technically in the village
I
limit.
believe it was a town.
believe it was a town project.
So yeah,
It's not
I
in the
think,
village. so
right. Oh, it's not?
It's a state project.
Is the cemetery in the village?
Yes.
So when we had our problem with our fence, the town managed it.
But that was the town-owned property.
Oh, yeah,
I
so
don't,
that's different.
it's, I would just say we would assist
Okay,
and, because we would, I mean, this, we're not gonna leave them hanging. And then,
So managed to assist.
yeah, leave that door open in case they do want to manage it on their own, but we're there to help them if we need to. Yeah.
Hard timing. Not saying, so I was gonna make that revision. And then on page 5, I wasn't sure if, the sheriff's department served.
Yeah, they do now.
They do.
We hire them for part-time coverage.
Did anyone have any comments on page 5?
Well, and then they also do the 911 dispatching too, so, yeah,
Yeah.
do the service.
Yep.
I think what you have is fine for, I think it's understood.
And then, did anyone have comments on page 6?
You just make date corrections.
I corrected which meetings were,
Right.
joint meetings versus just select board.
We did it, yeah.
It's fine, right?
And page 7?
Hmm.
And we get to page 8, where I had a number of questions when I was explaining. I know that Dan and Eric met with Mark to go over, the events over the past years, and I just had a couple of questions. I don't know if this would be better to go over these in a meeting or to just fill in these blanks with either Dan or Eric. It's really a matter of just getting more information on specific damages of the events.
If you want, for the sake of time, you can just contact me and I can go through them with you.
Probably wouldn't take long, but I just want to make sure that all the impacts are captured.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
Mark and I, were you part of that meeting?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, which Mark?
Mark,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
LCPC Mark.
Oh.
Yeah. He has a lot of data that we gave him for that too, so.
Yeah, I looked at it. And
Okay,
these were from.
Okay.
the notes.
just call me and
Yeah.
we'll go through it.
I thought, looking at this, I thought he would have had a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I apologize if we're going over it twice.
no, that's fine.
No worries.
Let's see. So I will. Dan, do you want to be in on that conversation as well?
We'll probably have the details of all of that anyway.
Did anyone have any other thing? Is there anything else that stood out on page 8, 9, or 10 reporting flood damages?
No, I mean, I don't have any of the specific info at my disposal, so it would have to come from somewhere here, I guess.
And then
I don't believe that the road closed. Oh, wait, I guess the road did 15 closed in 2024.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, it did.
so I guess it would be good to note perhaps, the duration of closure and the location. I would imagine it's the wrong way frame.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's closed. You have to look back at those.
In 2024, yeah, went across Main Street too.
Yeah, it took a lot longer to open up.
Yeah,
26.
I think it was 26 hours, 26, 28.
hours, yeah. 26 hours, I think we were probably closed for. You probably remember it better, but I believe that was about 26 hours worth of closure.
No, it's probably when CA did.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some more chairs. Oh, I don't think so. Oh, could be, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Want to have anything on page 11? Well. And then it goes into wind, page 13, and if you have anything, speak up. Gina gave me a comment, stuff. Page 13. Again, I can speak with Eric. I just wanted to make sure that I was capturing everything, all the damages from the 2022 event. Wind event.
And I guess I know there was a lot of, I don't know, we should probably change power lines, utility lines, because
Yep.
there was a lot of communication lines that came down. So.
Then page 14. 14 and 15, that's getting into snow and ice storms, that I didn't have any data besides, it snows. But I didn't have anything as far as if there's any major events that cause disruption. Oh, sorry.
He was asking about info on the ice storm, and I wasn't here then, so I don't have any.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem is this getting farther and farther back is
Yeah,
less and less accurate info, but.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the 98 storm, but.
yeah, I do
I
too.
don't
But
remember specifics about.
Out of it though. I believe.
remember there was no school. I was in school then. That's it.
No, I wasn't. You can stop talking now.
Frankly, we don't have damages, we don't have damages going back that far. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, for an event at that age, we could probably just acknowledge that it happened. I mean, I don't.
I agree.
everything I would give for data would be, from hearsay.
Yeah.
It wouldn't really be accurate per se, as we could just maybe add the broad scope that roads were affected,
It happened.
it happened, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, especially the 98 event was region wide I mean, I know it went stretched over into New York. And
yeah, huge.
It was a major.
I don't remember the 2013 one
we can
being
just know, the
honorable though either.
I don't remember the
Oh,
December
okay.
13 one, I guess.
That does.
It was right during
Oh,
Christmas.
Christmas. You just said Christmas and then it.
It was like 5 days right in the middle of Christmas season, and it just, yeah. And then I think we got another one shortly after, but it wasn't as nowhere near as significant as the 98 one even.
some notes there, and I can send this around one more, another time, to everyone to check, but have there been any snowstorms that have caused major disruptions or damage?
The Valentine's Day snowstorm was
2007.
7,
Yeah.
but I don't remember what the disruption was. I was in Maine, so I don't.
I don't believe it really was that much disruption. I think it
That's
was,
destruction when you're in Maine or going to Maine. There's a pattern.
Well, I was in college when that happened. But,
Um,
I can make a note of that, and I can go on the NOAA website, because that was like a couple of feet, I mean,
Yeah,
it seemed
several
like
feet.
everything's not for like.
say 36 inches. 36 inches. Yeah, it was nonstop.
huge.
But there was,
I feel like there was one just a couple of years ago too, that was several feet.
I kept getting stuck trying. bring flowers.
If you look at NOAA,
I'll look at Noah.
they'll give you the historic. There's a lot of storms that I thought weren't a big deal, and but Burlington got like 40 inches. So yeah, I'd look at the NOAA stuff and see what they come up with.
And snow's kind of hard too, right? So there's like individual, like, you know, could be tower outages and stuff and branches coming down, and then obviously like road crews. Like stupid hours of plowing, but. Yeah, it's
Not
usually a big dollar thing other than wages.
And there's
salt and sand.
and there's a big disruption. I mean, school's closed for a day, and then back to
They may not be able to get to work, sort of thing.
yeah, back to business as usual the day after. But I don't. Yeah,
Hard to quantify, I guess.
Yeah, which is probably why it wasn't in
Yeah, I mean,
like,
It was snow.
there wasn't a narrative in there, but I'll double check Noah, and I, that Valentine's store, that one, I feel like everyone was kind of grounded.
Yeah.
For a while. And that's good, and then, getting into, if there aren't any other comments on wind and snow. Getting into the mitigation strategies action plan. So, what's in here is, all the actions from the previous plan, noting which actions have been completed, how they were completed, which ones weren't completed, which actions weren't completed, and which will be carried over into this new plan. Which is broken down into ongoing actions, emergency preparedness actions, and then priority hazard mitigation actions. So I guess, did anyone have any thoughts on the ongoing actions? Identified. We went through it at the last meeting, and those revisions and added responsible party based on our discussions.
Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I guess the other, I mentioned earlier about being more general as far as power or phone, but whether we should be consistent here and say protect utility lines, but then it's more than just the co-op and the GMP, it's all the phone companies. So I might change responsible party to like individual utility companies or something a little more broad, because there's several in that area.
Yep.
More than might fit in that little box.
Definitely. And did anyone have any thoughts on the emergency preparedness actions?
I'm back.
Oh, sorry.
The collaboration with CPC, do you want to add that the elevation projects in here, or is that, more outside?
I would say flood proofing would probably
Covers.
yeah cover that. What?
Is that everyone? No? On that side?
Yep.
So,
Any comments on the emergency preparedness section?
see anything?
I'm good.
And then going into the priority hazard mitigation actions. If anyone had any thoughts or comments, I'm going to carry over the priority scoring that I have. I just wasn't sure. I didn't put it in there just because I didn't know if I was going to get any additional responses. But I can insert the scoring based on the responses I received. Didn't know if anyone had time to review that, had any comments. A couple of questions.
Could you make the header go down onto the next pages?
Yeah.
The, like the previous one. But, no, I get my, the only one I had was on the public water infrastructure. Because we covered this plan specifically, because I see it says village specific action includes Jeffersonville. What was the thought there, I guess?
I don't know, that's carried over
Okay.
from the last plan, and I wasn't sure.
Our system is working well, it's protected. I don't see that it needs any further.
Well, and that's what it says village specific actions and it says includes Jeffersonville. So I'm like, they have their own hazard mitigation plan.
Yeah,
So really it shouldn't be only town and village of Cambridge. So then I'm kind of wondering if that should just be struck.
yeah, I'm guessing that it was the village of Jeffersonville. That was in the previous.
So you don't have, like, well, you just said, you don't think you have any specific actions for your system, right?
No, no, I can't see that we are.
For flood or hazard mitigation anyways. I think it should be struck if
Okay.
you guys are okay with it.
Um,
And then, but it includes Jeffersonville too, I think. I don't know. I mean, maybe they put it in there because there's like the flood bypass project is located in Jeffersonville, but it was a town project, so
That's what I'm wondering too.
yeah. I think it's fine to get rid of the term, the words includes.
yes, up above, but for the,
Oh, okay, I see what, oh, so it says townwide actions and then village specific actions. Oh. I wonder if we just eliminate townwide and village specific and just lump them all together. And this is the town and village of Cambridge's action plan. Is that okay? I mean, I don't think there's any reason to break it up, do you?
I would just have to double check FEMA requirements to see if it's, I can check that, if it's not a FEMA requirement,
I guess there's really no issue other than that there's only 2 townwide actions and there's 4 or 5 in the village.
Right.
Cause I guess the next one is all hazards and then it's just town.
yes,
I mean, I guess the flooding, well, I guess flooding does affect the villages more than the rest of the town, so. General. That might make sense. That's something I guess that's stupid.
so we're still taking out the public water infrastructure upgrades, so
I think so.
just making sure.
I don't see any need for that to be there.
If the village of Jeffersonville has stuff they need to upgrade for theirs, it should be in their plan.
Yeah. Agreed. And then as far as the municipal capital improvement plan and program, you have one, correct? And it's updated. How often?
Monthly.
It's a joke, but that's pretty accurate.
So it's not like we have a plan. It's nothing that's officially been voted on by the voters, but it's something. So I think that's why it's an action. Well, no, it says update. I guess it's semantics. Short answer is yes. So I think it's fine the way it is.
Would we, is it a matter of maybe like formally adopting a capital improvement plan and program, or is this moving to ongoing?
It's been on the list for a while to create one.
Okay.
Maybe timeline. Yeah, I think 2025. Or can you just put ongoing? I guess is that a
Well, I can move it to the ongoing section if it's
Yeah.
that that you have that you're just going to
Yeah.
update on the regular,
I think
or if
that's
you're
probably
gonna
good.
adopt something more?
Yeah, something more formal.
I mean, that's, is on the goal list, I guess,
Yeah.
but.
What page are you on, Melissa?
Oh, page 20, I'm sorry.
I got ahead of you. Okay,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
right there, right? I think we have a good start. We just need to build on it.
So the real problem is just with the increasing pricing of all the equipment, it's just been a hard thing that
Fluctuates.
it's, there's so much, it's been a moving target,
Yeah.
so. I think it's fine, either it's ongoing or 25 to 30 here, leave it here, the 25 to 30.
And then for investigate heating and cooling locations, I didn't know. As far as timeline, I mean, it's really as needed or something.
It's as needed and continues to update and change as the sheltering places do add different things, so I don't know. I know the state has gotten to a point of wanting to, thinking it's a good idea to have some of those listed out there. So I have moved from them on that. Make it an ongoing as well, or at least in the next plan period anyway.
25 to 30.
I was hoping for, I needed to put something in from the estimated timeline for confirming formal shelter agreements.
We actually have anything in writing or not there?
We have in the past, yes, I'd have to dig to put my hands on it. I thought it was an open-ended
Oh,
agreement, but I would have to look to see for sure.
I think that's why it's, well, the words it's confirmed, so it's mainly just.
That's with Smugs.
Maybe, yeah, making sure they're the school.
what if a Cambridge building, we can't get there?
That has come up more recently, yes. Well, we can get you there, just a long way around. That has come up.
And that pertains to the next one, review and modify evacuation and sheltering plan for the village.
Right.
I thought we definitely did talk about that.
Yes, we did.
Can you put in there with leading stakeholders, the village trustees?
Let's see.
But I can't get to either one of their houses when the waters come up though either.
I'm on that side. I did make it, but I wasn't within the village. I was already outside of the village.
I'll have to put in for a boat now.
Think 2026 would be reasonable.
I would say so, yes.
Does anyone have any additional action items that weren't in here? Did I get capture everybody's suggestions?
I think it's good.
Did anyone have any comments on plan maintenance and continued public participation? Or
No, I'm good.
local hazard mitigation plan and other planning mechanisms. I tried to capture everything I knew of. I didn't know if there was something that other plans out there that folks know of that should be included in reference.
I mean, those are definitely the ones I know of. Um. I read somewhere in here, because we're talking about applying for more of those grants. Was there somewhere that referenced or I guess how far into that, like, and we're actively pursuing additional grants? Is that,
For what projects in particular?
well, no, sorry, for this section 6 on 22. Is that where you're at? Mike? Yeah.
Yep, so let's see, actively pursuing grants, that would be. Oh, to implement these,
So these
Right.
are all plans and studies that have been
Yeah.
done to date,
we just know,
and that the town and the village are actively pursuing that, you know. Additional studies and flood mitigation projects yearly or annually.
Does this plan consider things that happen north of the Memorial River?
Like as far as well.
Flooding and so forth that happens when you can't get to Smuggler's Notch because where are people going when
you're over there.
yeah, if you're in the north end, are you going to the Waterville School or are you going to, what are the plans that Fletcher has and so forth for the, it used to be that by his farm, that road flooded all the time. You couldn't get to anything on this side, so if you were flooded out, you had to go to Fletcher or someplace else.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I thought there was a section in there that talked about like coordinating with, or maybe it was specifically for like road agreements, but coordinating with
I think it was
joining
the
municipality.
road maintenance side.
Mutual aid agreement.
Mutual aid,
Public
yeah,
works.
Yeah.
Public works.
Like someone in the hogback or like hogback side of Cambridge, they're gonna be isolated. They're not gonna be able to get to Cambridge. So they'd have to kind of work in tandem with Waterville.
right, and unfortunately, that's with a town the size of Cambridge, there's lots of those little pockets. But it's not, I mean, honestly, it's a fair point, and it could go in one of those buckets as far as like, whether it's, I'm trying to find where that is now. Mutual aid agreements.
It would be, you'd almost see one for public works and something for sheltering.
Right.
Emergency preparedness actions, establish intermunicipal highway department, mutual aid agreements. Maybe sand stalls, snow. Yeah, that
It's
could
up
be,
there.
something similar. Whereas.
What happened in the tornado that went through North Cambridge? Were people evacuated from that and where were they evacuated to?
No.
No. That
Nobody was
hit,
stranded.
that hit, and,
The barn got taken down.
yeah, but I don't,
But they
nobody
didn't
was,
get-
They didn't have to.
nobody was left stranded. I know.
Handyman had to hold on to beams to not get people
Yeah.
on the way, but other than that.
I was thinking it's almost like stopping that paragraph there, but not necessarily for highway purposes, more for like
Yeah.
shelter purposes or EMD coordination with
I-
other entities or something.
Tie into the other stuff above that, yeah.
I will admit that the more I looked at this, I looked at the emergency preparedness actions versus the priority hazard mitigation actions. And my brain is like, well, I mean, what goes here versus what goes there? Like, should the mutual aid agreements really be priority hazard mitigation actions as opposed to?
Yeah. We could look at it that way.
And then is there anything else in emergency preparedness that really would be that should be moved over to hazard mitigation?
Think so. But
I don't think so.
no, either.
Yeah, at that point, it's,
You're just kind of
like that take it so long before your eyes do go glossy.
But I will add something about shelter coordination for North Canterbury.
I wouldn't even be so specific about North Cambridge. I'd say for, remote pockets of the town or
Isolated areas.
isolated areas within the town or something.
Because like you said, there's at least several. Depending on the-
On the other side of Katy Hills. We talk about once in a while.
We had 3 areas in 23 that we've never had to deal with before, so for evacuations, so
What was that? Spring?
what's that?
Who were they?
Just Cambridge Village across the Wrong Way Bridge, and there was one just up here on 15 a bit, and then up at the Deer Run Motel areas that just, it's come up before, but never been to a point of impacting people in those areas, so to have them evacuated, I think.
I will make those revisions and send that back in. Okay. And I will add language about actively pursuing funding for planning and implementation on an annual basis. Did anyone have any additional thoughts for, the meat of the plan?
No, I think everything we've done is, you've done, it's been great so far.
And then, we can go through, we'll add resolutions once we get BM's comments, Vermont Emergency Management's comments on the draft. I'm sure there'll be some revisions, and then once it's ready to move towards adoption, we'd have formal votes and, include the resolutions. As I had mentioned, in appendix 1, I'll take the totals from how folks prioritize the mitigation strategies, and move them over to table 5. We will need to, I think, prioritize the addition of the mutual aid agreement for public works. And shelter coordination, I think that probably fits in well with investigating shelter needs for the village. So I would imagine it's the same priority.
I would agree.
Okay. And then let's see here. The only other bit, a couple more bits. So appendix 2, there's a map. I see now that the map that was updated with your critical facilities, it's very small. When you put it on regular letter size. So I'm thinking maybe should have our GIS person and these insets, maybe have them as separate maps so you can actually
That'd be nice.
see it. But ultimately, previously, I think, the town office and the school were identified. We've added some things like communications towers, I think the fire department was too, health clinics, helipads, the library, daycares, the pharmacy, and water wastewater services. So I didn't know if anyone thinks that should or shouldn't be on there, or if there's anything we missed that should be identified. So
You have helipad?
the behind the rescue is it official helipad?
On the soccer club.
If a helicopter if the helicopter had to land, that would be the location.
Okay.
Behind the school. So again, we have the ambulance service, the town office, communications towers, the fire department, the health clinic in the village, the helipad, the library, the pharmacy, the village, daycares, which ultimately is pretty much Smugs, and Mary Elizabeth, and the school identified as emergency shelter. I can double check if Smugs is identified on here as an emergency shelter. Because I can't tell, because it's too tiny. So if anyone thinks of anything else, that should be called out as a critical facility. Certainly tell me, and I'll ask Conrad, and if we can implement.
So I think one map of the town of Cambridge and then a map per each of the hazard areas. So we can see them.
And should I just focus on the
Yes,
villages?
one of the whole town and
Yeah.
then one of each of the two villages.
And then if we get the
Pages.
insects out of there, it would probably. work.
Yeah, I think
Can,
we're good.
can they make it an 11 by 17? I know it's awkward when you gotta print it in the middle of the plan, but
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
if
great.
they've got a size requirement or not.
We should be able to, right?
Well, I know you can, but I don't know if they would be able to freak out. They had an 11 by 17 in the middle.
Could always
But it would certainly
try it and ask for
open it
forgiveness,
up
right?
a little
Yeah.
bit. Cause it's more tall than it is wide, so. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's right. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
be
no.
another option anyways.
Yeah, maybe that's a, we'll see how that looks. And that'll be the first one, and we'll see how it looks when it's printed out.
Mm.
And if it still isn't legible, we'll have the inset speed, different pages. And then we added the glossary of terms. So thank you for passing that along. I think it is added the special flood hazard. That's great, yeah.
Go back to the last part just for a second, maybe it's a stupid question, but can we put churches on this plan? I'm just thinking about Cambridge, the Catholic Church in Underhill Center is probably the closest tide water place for people to go to.
Yeah, there's once in the village, both got flooded.
Yeah, no. They don't work.
Yeah.
But I love, and again, what I'm talking about is
Yeah.
understanding where these places are, that if you're on the Lower Valley Road, do you go to, where do you go?
Yeah.
So, and I know the instinct is flooding, because that is the most common, but there are other hazards, cold spells, ice storms,
3-foot snowstorms the
Right,
last
so-
days.
churches definitely could be on this list, because there are other instances with not flood related that those churches in Cambridge could, or the health center could be an option.
Yeah.
So,
So one thing for identifying a shelter, the town should have an agreement and would need to have a key and have free access to. That's my understanding, to have an official shelter per, the length the town needs.
I remember how it was originally written up, but it's not necessarily having a key, but having access through somebody. So, because I don't walk around to the different places with a key and open it up for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
However, I can get into the school, yes, but rely on others that contacts to them to come and open up.
Yes. Have access.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's how it was written.
The good news about the churches are they all have kitchens, so they have the ability to feed people.
so do we want to identify the churches and if so, which ones?
I have no issue with doing on that. I don't know all their names.
Well, the
St. Thomas.
Who's under?
Well, that's the other one.
That's what,
That's why I was saying.
no, yeah, I hear what you're saying. but
Agreement
The
across.
map
town.
only shows Cambridge.
Yeah, well, I'm not
Well,
just
this one,
stretching this.
the
too
second
far.
congregational.
Yeah, and it's,
What's the one in
St.
Cambridge?
Mary's.
St. Mary's.
And then the other,
Catholic.
the non-Catholic.
There
Cambridge
you go.
Community. Okay.
You catch all those.
Three.
Yeah.
Well,
Different.
ultimately I have to see if there's a less, our GIS mapper, if there's already a GIS layer where it can.
Oh.
Pop it on.
Yeah. And I guess it might be another to-do list, because if there's not because this is, critical facilities, which is different than a shelter.
Right.
Right. So we're just identifying critical facilities that, you know, could potentially serve as a shelter, but they don't necessarily have a screen for those.
Mm.
Being a critical facility, I think it's fine for this purpose. They do serve the community.
Speak with Conrad about that. And I'm sure we could even create a layer if it's 3, just use their addresses and create a layer. I'm sure that would be easy enough. So then we have the glossary of terms and the list of acronyms. Thank you very much. And I guess the question is, are there any other thoughts, comments?
It's in 2 paragraphs.
Oh,
Couple paragraphs.
they threw out.
CCD if you want to share it for the team.
So yeah, there's more on what we do last, that's okay. I think it's really good. I think again, I think we as a contributed a lot, but you've done a lot too. I think really cleaned up a lot of the, the fluff that we've had over the years. I mean, I think it needed a good scrubbing, so to speak. So I think this has been very, very helpful.
And certainly, there's more that can be done with it.
Mhm.
Again, it's a short timeline, as we all know, so we can certainly, over time, work on it and improve it as we move on. And so I will reach out to Eric and fill in some of the bits on past disasters and impacts. I'll make these updates and I will send it around to everyone. How much time do you think you'd like to just give it one last review before my hope is to send it to DM if everyone's okay with that after everyone has a moment to look at it. So it's,
Could you accept the changes or I don't know what the term is?
Yep.
That, the red lines and then whatever you add that was second.
Yep.
The changes, just so we're reviewing the changes from tonight that.
Not everything else.
yeah,
Right, no, I think it would definitely help me expedite the review, my review process, I think.
does that sound
Yeah.
okay to folks?
I mean, I wouldn't even need a week, I don't even think. But
If it was more than that, it wouldn't get done, so
well,
So
put a timeline on it so we can do it.
1 week to review. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
what,
Did you have any additional comments? Okay, sorry.
no problem. I offered them to sit at the table, I said no.
I know better.
What is your goal, Melissa, to get this off the VM? I know it was like last week or the week before.
Oh, no, I mean, it took me longer to get through this. I don't have my calendar, but,
So
let's see.
today's the 17th and, so 2 weeks is the 1st of July.
So.
2 weeks from today.
Would be great. I'll make the revision, so I'll have a week, and then by the 1st of July, you think that's a good idea?
I think so.
To have it,
Do you think we need to do this again at a meeting, or is we each individually provide you our thoughts and comments and
I mean, I think we discussed it pretty thoroughly, it's just,
I think so too.
at this point, it would just be minor corrections and edits. So I mean, how about if during the review, something red flag comes up and is like, oh my gosh, this is totally not right. Then we could always circle back around, but I'm confident.
I think
that-
if,
I
yeah,
think we can-
all 5 members respond. And then I'll respond and
Yep.
if they respond, that'll close the loop for comments and then we're good.
Anything huge comes up, we can root it through them.
I mean, yeah, I would hope that it's just, confirming, the
Right.
changes that we discussed tonight.
But like I said, like the numbers and stuff, I'm gonna trust that you get the right numbers in there, cause
Yeah,
I wouldn't know what the numbers were for any of those. for that.
I have numbers since I've been at the town.
Right.
Prior to that,
If we have most of the numbers, I think it was really, it's making sure that we really captured impacts, that was the big.
Oh,
the
okay.
big thing.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
all right.
I'm gonna
Plan,
write it
well,
down.
well, thank you so much, I appreciate your time and, for expediting this, and, I'm glad we were able to. Get through this, so, thank you.
Pleasure to work.
Thank you, Melissa.
You break it?
Break from,
But you were up late last night.
Oh. this is my last meeting, I think, for this week. Now it's on to school stuff, graduations and things, right?
There you go.
Fun stuff.
Yes. Well, thank you. I
Good luck.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Melissa. Thank you guys. Susie.
Do you want to move up the health officer
We
since
can.
Mark is sitting here and
Yeah.
the rest of the stuff we have isn't really time constrained?
Want to do that, Mark?
Sure,
Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
What is it we're doing?
So. Well, I come to find out, I'm the town health officer.
Correct.
And up till 2 more weeks.
Right.
I've been doing a bang up job, I guess. Didn't even know
I
about
haven't
it.
seen any health issues in the town.
No, well, that's good.
Great job.
I'm just the epitome of health here. On this end of the table.
There was one, but
So this is the deputy health officer.
Right.
So I did reach out to all of the people who applied for the town health officer position. All of them also expressed interest in the deputy position. So essentially, we have the same pool of candidates. And then now that I guess we nominated you or recommended you to the state to be the town health officer, we figured it would be good to include you in the discussion for the deputy, so we know.
Right, and I think that was gonna be done last time, but I was out of town.
Yeah, so, I think it would be good, since we're gonna discuss with candidates, to go in executive session to discuss options and the candidates themselves. And then, the goal would be to come out and we can appoint, the town can appoint a deputy. That would be, what was the date that would be authorized from July 1st? Okay. So, that being said, is there a motion to move in executive session to
Can I
discuss?
just ask a question?
Sure.
Do you know any of these candidates?
No, I don't know who any of them are.
Okay.
Okay.
So moved.
I have another question.
Is there?
And this is just is it, I mean, can we can vote to keep our minute taker in if it's not a issue, correct?
Yeah.
We don't need to make her stand in the back room.
No.
We're just trying to keep.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm good to know.
Okay.
You'd be hot in here with us or hot back there by yourself.
Right, it's just like, I don't know, I was just trying to
Yeah.
not kick you out.
Yeah, it's simpler just to stay here, I guess.
Just do this.
I noticed you took your plan a lot.
I'd never had one tonight. I thought it might be cold, but
This is a record breaking evening if you're warming up.
All right, so
not too bad though.
a motion to move in an executive session
So moved.
for discussion of
In
health officer candidates
Why don't I join you?
with Mark Nash, the deputy, the town health officer. Donna, the town clerk, and Linda, the assistant town clerk,
And me,
and Eric, and the town administrator, and Donna, the minute taking.
okay.
There's a long list.
That was a long list.
Was there a second for that motion?
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. Call for the vote, please.